Good afternoon. This video I'm going to show you how to use Inventor software, which is a three-dimensional mechanical design software. And the reason we're doing this is so that you can incorporate this into your architectural modeling. You can model small doors and windows and things like that in this program called Inventor, and plug it into the 3D printers and print you some windows, doors. You can do all kinds of things, even roofs, whatever it is you decide you would like to print to make your 3D models really stand out. But for my other viewers who watch my AutoCAD and my Revit videos, you can certainly use this video. I have no problems with that. It is mainly intended for my high school students, but if you decide you want to use 3D printing in your architectural modeling as well, you can. This will enable you to do that. Okay, now the first thing I want to do is open this program called Inventor. And if you have Inventor, you know how to open it, so I'm not going to show you that. We come to this screen here to get us started, and the first button I want to push is in the launch panel, and I click on projects. What I want to do is create a new project that all of my parts for my model will be stored in. So I click new, and it's by default a new single user project, so I'll keep that. And then I'll name it whatever I can name it so that I'll recognize it. Okay, so I might put something like 3D parts for modeling. Okay, and from there, of course, here by default, project workspace folder, it automatically puts you a folder in your document. So I just keep it just like that, but it has the full path right there listed. And I click on the next button, and then I click on the finish button. And it says the project path you entered doesn't exist. Should it be created? Okay, so now it created that folder. And of course you can probably see I've got several of them here for other students and for myself for making these videos. So no, this isn't the first time I've gone over this video. So I've actually sort of practiced, I guess, first. Anyway, I can click done now. You don't need to know all my details. So next thing I'm going to do is start drawing something. And to start drawing something, I'm going to draw a part in full 3D. So I'm going to click on part and give it a second. And it's important that you don't, click it multiple times, because that will lock up your program and probably lock up your computer as well. Now, here we are in the drawing area. And to draw something, you have to go up to the top left to this button. It says 2D sketch, and this will allow you to start your 2D sketch. So click on that button and you'll get something like this. These are three planes. This is your XY plane, this is your YZ plane, and then this is your XZ plane. You can actually see it in the kind of the bottom left hand corner. It's kind of hard to see, and it really just depends on what I'm modeling as to where I will start. And you can pick any of these planes, it does not matter. But when I 3D print, of course I'm going to 3D print by my model is going to be laying flat on the model base or the printing base. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that bottom, that horizontal plane, and start drawing in there. So when I convert it to the 3D printer, it'll already be laying on its face or back. Okay, so now I have some accurate measurements of the spaces that I want to put these windows. They're going to be curtain window or curtain walls, glass curtain walls with mullions and glass and everything else. Not real glass, but that's something that comes beyond the 3D printing part. So I'm going to start with a rectangle. Okay, and you need to have some accurate measurements of where you're going to place these windows or these walls. And I don't do this in scale or anything like that. I just take actual measurements. And I start drawing my rectangle. And for my model, I know these are going to be 2 inches tall, these walls. So I just type the number 2 And I can hit enter from this point, and it will interpret that to mean 2 inches. If you need feet, then you would need to type the letters FT for feet. Don't use the quotation marks or the apostrophe to indicate your feet in inches, because Revit doesn't like, not Revit, Inventor does not like that punctuation. So I can type 2, or I can type 2IN for 2 inches, and it will interpret that for me. I can even type in 2. Normally it shows up by decimal. Maybe I don't have a decimal. Maybe I want it to be 2.5. So I can actually type in 2 1/2 inch, and it will go ahead and convert that to decimal for me. But right now, this is just going to be 2 inches in the X or the Y coordinate. And then I'm going to hit the tab button to switch to my Y direction. And it's going to be 6 inches. Okay, zoom out a little bit, because Inventor is made for really small programs and are very small drawings, and it tends to zoom in really close. But if I want to, I can actually line and constrain this up to the center mark. A lot of times I do that, but you really don't have to do that. I do it just out of habit. But I am going to start our modeling from here. So I've got the outline of my curtain wall system. Next thing I'll do is I'll click on the Finish Sketch button. And my sketch is finished. I am going to now extrude this to give it some 3-dimensional volume. So I'll go up to the ribbon and find the Extrude button. I click on that, and it gives you this dialog box right here. By default, it's set to 1-inch extrusion. But from here, I can just change that. And what I'm extruding this to, my foam board that I'm using in my model for the walls is 3/16 of an inch thick. I want these mullions to kind of stand out from the wall a little bit. So I'm just going to, do 1/4 of an inch. And that's not like any specific scale or measurement or anything like that. It's just 1/4 of an inch is all it is. So click OK, and now I have basically a 3-dimensional volume. I have to cut and make my mullions. So to do that, I'm going to first cut the frame out for my overall curtain wall. And I'm going to select the top surface right there. Click on that and select that, and then click Start Sketch, and it will go into Sketch on that surface. I'm going to project my geometry, and to do that I'm going to click the Project Geometry button, and this will project all of the cut edges. So I click in there, and that way I can use that geometry to reference this new drawing on. And that's really easy, because all I have to do now is click on the Offset button right here, and then come in and click on that yellow projected geometry. And now I can set my mullion thickness, or overall frame thickness. And you can just do it manually, or you can find a thickness that looks good to you. And I am going to go, let's see, 0.125. Let's see what that looks like. That looks pretty good. Maybe it's a little thick. So I'm going to edit that a little. So I'm just going to click on the 0.125 that I have right up here. I think. Sometimes you have to double click it. Sometimes you have to really work with it. So what can I change it to? Make it a little bit thinner. How about, let's say 0.05. There we go. That might be too thin. Now that's good. Okay, so there we have it. And then I'm going to click Finish Sketch. And I have another surface that I can extrude. So I'm going to go to my ribbon, find the Extrude button, click on that, and I just want to extrude this inner part. However, I'm not really going to extrude it. I'm actually going to cut it out. So I'm going to change right here the shape section, or the shape tab, where it says profile. I'm going to change that to cut. Okay, and the distance is already set. And now I'm going to choose the profile, click here, and then click OK. So it just cut out that. So I have kind of the outer frame of my curtain wall system. All right, and now what I need to do is I need to put my vertical mullions inside of this contraption. So again, I'm going to do some more drawing on a surface. So I'm going to click on that surface, click Start Sketch, and now here I'm going to cut this geometry in half, because what I'm looking at is not what I really want to draw on. So there's a button right down here at the bottom that'll let me cut it in half, and what it's going to do is it's actually going to cut it to the plane that I'm drawing on. So I click that little button right there, and then it cuts it to that plane. Now I can start placing my mullions. And kind of takes a little playing with at first. I'm just going to draw a single line to start with. Okay. And from that single line, I'm going to create an array. And actually, I probably need that to be, I'm going to redo that. I need it to be from here to here. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of picking where I believe is the edge of that other side that kind of goes up vertically, that would kind of be coming out at me as I'm doing that. And I'm just getting a rough dimension for my mullion placements. Okay, so I'm going to click on Rectangular Array. I'm going to select the geometry that I'm after. Okay, and then I select my direction, so I'm just going to select or click here on the direction button, and then somehow should it accept it. I might have to project my geometry because it has nothing to reference right now. Okay, so see, I don't know if I can stay in that. I can't. So I got to project my geometry again. So I click on the Project Geometry button, click on the frame, and now I can create that rectangular array. Select this geometry, select direction, and then select the projected geometry, and there I get my direction for my array, and then I get right now one extra mullion. I don't know how far I want these to go apart, so and I'm not making this to be a scale replica of any real live window. I'm just making it as something to show an idea. So for this window, I'm probably going to put about 6 mullions in there. And I'm going to look at that and see how far it goes. It looks like that goes pretty good. That goes, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 from the start. Okay, so the 6 mullions is good. They're actually 1 inch apart, which is very good. I'm going to click OK, and there we go. What is, okay, that's the dimension line. Okay, so now I have my mullion placements. And I want to create another line. I'm going to do another offset. I'm going to do an offset. And offset these mullions. Now this is where you have to kind of write down some of the dimensions that you're using. So my thickness of this frame was like 0.05. So I want my vertical and my horizontal mullions to be about the same size. So I'm going to do an offset, click on that, and then 0.05. All right, and I'm going to do that to all of them. And there probably is a way to do this more automatically. I guess I could create another array, but then things get a little confusing. And then this one. All right, now I want to close up the geometry as well. And to do that, now, Inventor gets weird with you, especially when you're using this projected geometry. And then when you're drawing on top of that projected geometry. So I want to select that yellow line and see if I can't get rid of it. It may not let me. Sometimes it does, sometimes it does not. Alright, so we're going to have to try and draw with it. Or we could split it. Let's try a split. So I want to split that line. Now it's not even coming up for a split. But you'll see what I'm talking about is when I start to extrude these, it'll get confused. Now really, I don't want to extrude this one. This is that very first one. So I am going to complete the, oops. And there's one, I hate that because it just really gets irritating working with that this way. But hey, that's what you have to do. Okay, so that one is closed. That's a closed loop. Another line. I'm going to close this loop, and as you see, my line did not extend all the way. So extend, I'll extend 2, and it's not that. Let me select that. That's one thing about Inventor. You really got to play with this program to get it to work. Maybe I can extend it that way. Still didn't go. Boy, is that irritating. I'm going to select the line, see if I can drag it. There we go. I dragged it to where it needs to go. I think. I'm going to go up here and look at the tops. I think I may have just dragged. No, I didn't. It's still there. Okay. So now I can close that loop. So basically, I go through and I close all those loops up to get something I can extrude. This one, delete that one, and I'm going to try and delete this one. Delete pattern, no. Suppress element, yes. So I'm going to suppress that particular element. I don't want to see it, I want to work with it, because that's just kind of where I started and kind of used it as a reference. Now I'm going to finish sketch, and now you see I've got all these little things here. However, it's not going to, only because I've closed only one of the geometries. Those are the only ones, you know, close the loops, in other words. Those are the only ones that are going to extrude. These is not going to read. Okay, so extrude, and click on the, oops, cancel, extrude. Now this is where it gets really weird. There we go. And you have to play with it there to get it selected. When I selected that, you kind of saw me hovering around, and I was waiting until that, just that section highlighted or highlit. And these, because I didn't close the loops, they're not going to select. Okay, so you have to close those loops to get them to come out. Normally I would, but I don't want to keep you on this video forever. So now I just extend this. I can extend to next, and it will extend all the way up to the next piece. Okay, and now I click OK and I'm done. So I would do that for all those mullions, and I would also make a horizontal mullion too going across here. And then from there, depending on your 3D printer, how you would prepare the file for 3D printing. If you're in my class, I can show you that. I can help you with that. But to get you started on 3D printing your parts there, that's how you do it. Just use your imagination and go to work.